they jump, they slither and slide. Come out in the open and they run and hide. It takes all kinds to live in Bug City. Some are weird and some are pretty. Come on down, let's meet in Bug City. Don't let them bug you. There's nothing to be afraid of. Bugs can be fun. We're all friends here. So come on down, let's meet in Bug City with Christina Ricci, Dr. Art,
and don't forget me, Bugsy Seagull.
Hi everybody, welcome to Bug City. We have a special show today, all about great insect warriors. Dr. Art, you're the entomologist. That means insect expert. From what I've seen of the world of insects, there does seem to be a constant war going on.
Well, Christina, it's not exactly a war in the sense that people wage war. Anyway, it's more about defending territories and competing with others for food and for mates.
War. I've seen all those war movies.
Not these, you haven't. There are battles going on in the insect world that make human conflict look tame.
Remember, nature's ways are sometimes tough to watch, but there's no doubt you'll find them interesting.
In what we're about to show you, see if you can find what might have been the inspiration for human war tactics. There's a tank, there's chemical defense, there's even an aerial escape maneuver. Watch this.
These treetops conceal a skillfully built fortress constructed entirely by ants. In teams, the ants not only cut and pull heavy leaves together, but they sew them tight with silk produced by their larvae and live safely inside. Safely, that is, except for when this leathery creature invades. It's a moth caterpillar, as heavily armored as a tank, and to the ants' alarm, its goal is the very heart of their fortress, the nursery. This caterpillar preys specifically on the precious eggs and larvae of weaver ants. It hugs the surface so tightly that no matter what the ants do, there is no penetrating the caterpillar's armor. In the end, the ants' only recourse is a frantic evacuation of their young away from the feeding frenzy. This bizarre creature, whose relatives may grow up to 4 inches in length, is the praying mantis, one of the most amazing predators in nature. Equipped with spiny forelegs which move faster than a human eye can see, the mantis will make dinner of nearly anything small enough to catch. The mantis may look like an outer space alien, but it is a true insect. Like all insects, it has 3 body parts: the head, the thorax, and the abdomen. In addition, mantids also have a powerful set of tools for monitoring their surroundings. These 2 compound eyes and 2 antennae. In addition to the mantis's specially built forelegs, it has another powerful tool: long wings. This bat, equipped with sonar, can nab nearly any insect in midair, even in pitch darkness. But the mantis, which can literally see behind while flying ahead, is about to outwit it. Like a skilled fighter pilot, the mantis waits until the last instant, then intentionally stalls and tumbles out of the bat's range. Other wonderfully winged insects, like this dragonfly, may have provided inspiration for the human invention of helicopters. The dragonfly and its cousin the damselfly rotate their two sets of wings independently, literally rowing the air like oars. A creature you may have passed 100 times and never noticed is the tiny hoverfly, probably one of the greatest aerialists in nature. The hoverfly not only mates and hunts on the wing, but can fly backwards as easily as forwards, and can hover in the same exact spot as long as it likes. Wings, even the best of them, are by no means a sure escape for insects, particularly when faced with great hunters like spiders. Watch how this jumping spider, with its amazing complex eyes, gauges the distance between it and the fly it has targeted for supper. The fly never had a chance. Vision among spiders varies greatly. Some have up to 8 eyes, others have none and are utterly blind. Spiders are not, in fact, insects. They belong to a class of creatures called arachnids, which includes scorpions, mites, and ticks. Unlike insects' 3 body parts, spiders have only 2, a cephalothorax and an abdomen. They also have 8 legs instead of the insect's 6. These 8 legs give them not only extra speed as hunters, but also, sometimes, extra sensory perception for hunting. This spitting spider uses its forelegs to delicately measure, completely in the dark, the distance to its unsuspecting prey. The fly feels nothing until it is completely ensnared with silk. Spiders are nature's master trappers. This one waits in its well-camouflaged lair until an insect wanders near enough to be snatched for dinner. But even spiders aren't tough enough for this beetle. It uses chemical warfare when attacked, and when surprised, it's the giant wolf spider that's first to abandon the battle. The beetle, called a bombardier, can mix chemicals in a special reaction chamber in its abdomen. When it pulses out the chemical bomb at the rate of 500 to 1,000 times a second, the gas is not only burning, but literally boiling. The beetle's bright orange color should serve as a warning to stay away, but this toad somehow missed the message and undoubtedly regrets it. This common stink beetle was not so named by accident. It, too, practices a kind of chemical warfare. When threatened, it can tilt up its abdomen and waft out a substance so powerfully nasty that even a hungry mouse 100 times its size can't get past the bad taste.
Finally, I had someone to root for, and he won.
Huh. Anybody could take a mouse. Huh. I could take a mouse. Well, probably. Well, maybe. But why risk a nasty bite?
In insect battles, as in most battles, it's usually the most powerful or the bigger group that wins. But there are some interesting weapons that come into play in insect warfare. All insects and their relatives are heavily armored, with exoskeletons on the outside of their bodies. Some of them use chemical warfare, others rely on spines, horns, and claws. Here, we have a praying mantis whose front legs are designed for grasping their prey, and those spines help to sink in to a grasshopper or a butterfly. But when attacked, the praying mantis can use these spines to fend off a predator much larger than its own size. The spiny walking stick male is covered with spines. And notice on the back legs it has huge thorns that it can use to grab and pinch you. And if that isn't enough to discourage you, they have stink glands and they smell just like a skunk. Even small animals such as the termites have a specific caste, the soldiers, whose sole purpose is to defend the colony. And finally, The two beetles in this case, the Atlas beetle and the Hercules beetles, have horns. Only the males use their horns to battle with other males of the same species for the favor of females.
In the same way that male elephants use their tusks to fight over territory and females, these Atlas beetles use their horns to decide who is dominant. That is, who will have the first right to breed with the females in the area. Their three horns are not teeth, but are simply hardened, specially shaped extensions of the beetle's tough hide or exoskeleton. These mighty Hercules beetles, who can grow to 5 inches in length, have also evolved exaggerated horns made of exoskeleton, horns which serve no other purpose except for fighting. These beetles will sometimes do battle for more than an hour. Even the males of a tiny fly species are equipped to fight for their females. The antler flies are so named for the horn-like growths sprouting from their foreheads. Instead of doing real violence, it's more like the males are measuring each other to see which is biggest and strongest. The female waits nearby. In the end, the weaker male will just walk away, and the stronger will immediately breed afterward. The weapons of the male stag beetle, unlike the other battling beetles we saw, are not really horns. They are huge, overgrown mandibles or mouth parts, which were originally designed for chewing food. Now, all the mandibles are good for is fighting. In fact, the jaws on these warriors can grow so huge that they will actually hinder the male's ability to feed themselves. This creature's oversized mandibles literally make it helpless to do anything for itself. Others must feed and groom it. This is the soldier in an ant colony, and its only function in life is to guard and protect its fellow workers as they go about their own jobs. Army ants are different from most ants in that they never have a permanent home. They are migratory, hunting and scavenging through tropical forests of the Western Hemisphere. These army ants are from South America. They are meat eaters and among the most ferocious of animals. Much of their time is spent roaming the forests in great hordes, searching for prey. They cooperate as a single, efficient killing machine. Army ants will attack any creature that can't get away. By relentlessly stinging and biting in overwhelming numbers, they can kill creatures many times their size. Ants are creatures so advanced they have formed interdependent relationships with completely unrelated species, like this acacia plant. The acacia provides the ants with a nest and safe chambers in which to rear their young. The plant also provides food to nourish the colony in the form of these protein-rich buds. In exchange, the ants will fiercely protect the acacia from other insects who might attempt to eat the plant's leaves or stems. Another such mutually beneficial relationship exists between certain ants and aphids. Aphids excrete droplets of sweet honeydew, which the ants love to eat. These ants herd and milk aphids much like humans do cows. The main predators of aphids, as many gardeners know, are ladybugs. That makes ladybugs the main enemy of this particular breed of ants. The ants will go into a frenzy of attack over the arrival of a ladybug. But because of its protective armor, the ladybug is in little danger of anything but annoyance. The thick and hard wing covers, called elytra, are unique to beetles and are invaluable tools for survival. Most beetles possess elytra, which makes them all but invincible to many predators. Note that the elytra protects the flight wings and delicate abdomen. In fact, the majority of beetles are excellent flyers, and ladybugs are no exception. This tiny, comical-looking, slow-moving tortoise beetle may look like an easy target for any predator, but it has a secret weapon, amazingly powerful suction-cupped feet. Small though it is, when threatened, it simply clamps itself down on its leaf and becomes an impenetrable little tank. The ants who want to eat it, strong and fierce as they are, finally have no choice but to give up and go looking for some easier prey. When danger has passed, the tortoise beetle continues jauntily on its way.
That was unbelievable. The insect world has some very bizarre methods of survival.
Speaking of bizarre, I think that last scene gave Bugsy Seagull a bit of a scare.
Oh, goodness.
Hey, those ants better not come at me. No, sir. Hey, it's a tough world out there, and there's one tough seagull in here. Oh, you don't see any of those ants around anywhere, do you?
Somehow, I don't think they'd be interested in you, Bugsy.
Always be prepared. Well, as much as possible.
It doesn't always take horns and spines to win the fight. As we saw before, size doesn't always guarantee the outcome. In the battle you're about to see, it looks like the wasp would be physically overwhelmed by the giant it's attacking. But watch what happens.
This jewel wasp from Malaysia is busy building a burrow for one of its favorite victims, an enormous, well-armored cockroach. Now that the burrow is ready, watch how quickly the wasp moves, delivering its venom before the cockroach even saw it coming. The venom the wasp is injecting is no ordinary poison. It is not meant to kill or even paralyze the cockroach. Instead, it has a strange effect. The cockroach, even though it can still move, no longer has the will to resist the wasp or even defend itself. The reason the wasp has not killed or paralyzed the cockroach now becomes clear. The cockroach is too large for the wasp to carry. It literally needs the victim's cooperation to get it to the burrow, where it becomes food for the wasp's young. All wasps are meat eaters and master predators. This particularly strong one specializes in caterpillars, the larval forms of butterflies and moths, which are favored by many meat eaters for being both juicy and defenseless. But not all caterpillars are defenseless. Some have truly amazing disguises designed to repel or at least trick those who would eat them. This caterpillar has huge, false eye spots to make them seem much larger than they really are. Other caterpillars are covered with masses of spines or hairs, which again, not only makes them look larger than they are, but also much too prickly to be good eating. The caterpillar's bag of tricks ranges from the amazing to the outrageous. Caterpillars also display warning coloration, a universal code recognized by all insects. The colors yellow, red, and orange, when combined with black, mean that an insect may be poisonous, or stings, or at the very least is distasteful. Even ladybugs have a bad smell and taste. And some butterflies, believe it or not, carry a nasty poison. Fleet wings and warning colors are not always enough to save an insect, particularly when it comes to such predators as arachnids. This night-flying tiger moth, highly poisonous and colored yellow and black, doesn't even cause hesitation in a hungry scorpion. The scorpion's deadly sting takes effect within 15 seconds, and digestion will be no problem at all. Most scorpions prowl and hunt at night. Their skill as killers is made more treacherous by the fact that they are all but invisible in the dark, except under ultraviolet light. Scorpions are not what we would call sentimental. If they encounter another scorpion, they are as likely to try to kill and eat it as they are anything else that crosses their path. But even scorpions may be no match for their close arachnid cousins, like this black widow spider. Spiders not only have venom which is more lethal than the scorpions, but they have the added weapon of silk, which they skillfully use to snare and disable their prey. A spider's web, in fact, is a perfectly designed aerial trap from which there is very little chance of escape. Spider silk is not only stronger than a steel strand of the same width, but it is often covered with sticky beads that further entrap a victim. A fly has been caught in the web of the Nephila spider, a particularly powerful spider with a web up to 6 feet across. This Nephila is actually completely blind, but that doesn't seem to hinder her skill one bit. As soon as she feels the vibrations of an insect in her net, she quickly finds it, paralyzes it with venom from her fangs, and wraps it up in a silken shroud. It will be put aside and eaten at her leisure. As for the boiling, burning bombardier beetle we saw earlier, even it is no match for a spider with both venom and silk. The spider wraps it up tightly to reduce the harmful effect of its burning gases. The dying beetle will end up as a perfectly tasty meal for the fierce female orb spider. Finally, there is a saying that when it comes to the battle of survival, all is fair. This little Argyrodes spider never bothers to spin a web of her own. She lives by stealing from others. Lurking at the edge of a blind spider's web, she waits for a distraction, then simply cuts loose a ready-made meal and hauls it away for herself.
Hey, it's time for the Take No Prisoners part of the show. It's my part. Factualities. You want scary? I got scary. Listen to what I got out of these books at the library. Did you know that a colony of the wood ant species can kill and drag home 100,000 caterpillars in a single day? And did you also know that there are some moth caterpillars who can actually squirt out acid to protect themselves from would-be predators? Scary stuff. And there are some praying mantises large enough to catch and eat a small lizard. You don't believe it? Well, you better believe it, because those are the factualities.
I'm glad you could join us today in Bug City and have the chance to meet the amazing warriors of the insect world.
Yeah.
And remember, it's a bug's world. Just look around.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, so long, everybody.
See you again.